What's up, everybody? Wagey tapping in for another court chat. Today, just wanted to talk about, growth and development, aka learning to fly. And, this is just something that I was thinking about during my workout, and it was, things that I didn't know, and then actually taking the initiative to learn, incorporate and implement new information into what I've been applying throughout my life, which is what allows for growth and development to flourish so that you can be the peacock that you need to be and learn to fly. A lot of the things that I didn't know happened to stem from my relationship with my mother. Single parent, did the best that she could, definitely. But it skewed the dynamic in kind of dealing with women throughout my life because I didn't view them any differently. I thought that's how relationships ultimately played out. And the thing is that, that's how relationships can play out if you're treating them all that way. For some reason, throughout my life, for the 35 years, it didn't stem to, in my mind, that they can be different. They can be less struggle. They can be more functioning, less dysfunctional, more accommodating. But it also requires a two-way street. While you don't get to choose who your mother is, you do get to choose who your partners are in life. And that's something that you should deal with a great deal of thought process, I guess. Validity. You wanna look to know this person, study them over time, so that they call it vetting. But just so that you understand how this person operates and whether or not you can function alongside with how this person operates. Now, the beautiful thing about life is that relationships often change due to the nature of relationships. When you're dating and honeymoon, stuff is easy. When you're moving forward to cohabitating, sorting out duties and bills, stuff can get a little bit more challenging. Then if you take the great leap and have children, you're both going to become different people, and it's going to be a conscious effort required to understand that and then seek to find yourselves in each other where you started at the beginning, so you don't get lost in that new growth and development of maintaining responsibilities that are definitely planned on, but are unexpected to say the least. Other things that I didn't know about, was, again, wearing the different hats, but this stemmed from my nature as being a user at that time. So I had to, or at least I felt comfortable changing hats based on what setting I was in, because I couldn't be a user at work unless somebody that I work with happened to be a fellow user. Then we got to mess around on a different level, but and for that long time, I didn't understand people that were kind of straight edge, because it's definitely an experience in your life that I enjoyed. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun doing the things that I did, but I'm glad that I moved away from that lifestyle, because ultimately it is unsustainable and it's nothing you should kind of live your life around. But switching those hats. So then again, when I became a parent, when I became a partner, when I was out in the streets using, all these different hats became interchangeable based on who I was dealing with and what was actually going on around me. And what I didn't know was how taxing that was on me mentally, how unnecessary it was really, and ultimately that I could condense all of those hats into just being me. I am all of those things. I can just be all those things. I don't need to transform, so to speak, on a case-by-case basis. And now you get waging, and the only thing that might change is, like I stated before, whether you're getting maybe a 3 or a 7, on the wagey dial, what I need to go through. Communication. This is why I took this up, to broaden my horizons on communication. I didn't know that as good as I got at active listening for problem solving, that skill, it can transfer into a relationship, but you have to listen differently. Because I was versed in the problems that I had trained for on the job doing customer service. Through relationships, remember, because I was unexperienced and didn't think, and just thought that fights and confrontation were natural, I didn't cue in on what to actively listen for and what tools were needed to problem solve those relationships correctly. Some of those inquiries might require comfort and reassurance. Some of those inquiries might require attractive, witty banter. It varies based on, again, what the inquiry is and how you understand your partner. These were things that I didn't know that I didn't know. And lately, the best thing about that is if you know that you don't know these things, that's half the battle if you can admit it. The part where people get stuck is choosing to learn something different. That's been one of my greatest attributes throughout my entire life, is that I thrive on chaos, adaptation, and change. It's inherent. Remember, I was a user. I was also an entrepreneur in my younger years. So, seeing problems, identifying solutions, creating opportunities is core to who I am. While I may be ignorant that there's an issue sometimes, eventually I'll figure this shit out. Thankfully, I'm still young. So again, knowing that I don't know these things and then taking the initiative to Google, YouTube, whatever platform you feel comfortable doing to learn about communication, active listening, self-validation, taking care of you, not changing hats, being confident on who you are and presenting that one person at all times. All of these kind of things that I've taken on journeys lately. Some have been more challenging than others. I thankfully have had help along the way. I got asked a very interesting question today. If I was put on the spot and I had to give a TED Talk for $1 million, what would be my message? And my answer was the importance of fathers. Way more important than just being a paycheck. If I didn't have access to my father in the time frame that I did, I'm not sure where I would be at right now. I want to say that I wouldn't find a permanent solution, but my progress probably would not have been to the same degree that it is now. Because just having another human being that chose to listen, and not only listen, but understood and could relate to situations that I was going through as another human being, invaluable. Like, that is really priceless, because I felt I was heard, I was understood. And again, I've said this before, the thing that makes because I have a bunch of younger brothers and they don't communicate maybe the same way that I do with my dad. And the thing that makes our kind of communications dope is that I'm not looking for solutions. I'm not contacting for problem solving. I'm contacting to be heard and express what I'm dealing with, what my solution is for what I'm dealing with, and how it's going so far. I'm giving all that information. He offers feedback if he so desires, but I'm giving him all that. I'm just asking him to be a soundboard that I can bounce this information off of, because it reverberates in your mind differently after you say it out loud. That's why identifying a problem is half the battle. You have to say it out loud. I'm not good at relationships. I would like to learn how to do relationships better. I should probably Google some information about relationships, learn about attraction and comfort, how those play, active listening on when to cue which one, so that I can start to play relationships better. Because ultimately, this is the beautiful part about what I'm learning, it should be fun. It shouldn't be taxing. You should enjoy each other's time and company. There should be a little give and take, a little push and pull. You might not see eye to eye all the time. There's room for disagreements in this house. That's something good that I learned from my dysfunctional relationships. There's room for disagreement in this house. And I'll understand how you feel. But we gotta go with a decision, so let's roll with mine, because I'll take the ownership. Now, if people are making their own decisions and then blaming you for it, you might feel some type of way, but that's also going to be an active listening trait that you need to pay very close attention to. Then you have to open dialogue in a non-accusatory manner, but explain, I'm noticing this, I do not appreciate this, I need to figure out how, I need your help to resolve this, otherwise I can't be involved with this. The biggest thing that I didn't know was how much I allowed myself to devalue myself over a period of time. It was insane once I actually caught back up and realized how far I let myself slide. I let my values slide down. I did it. I let my value go from here to down there. Making concessions. Not thinking about myself. Not being honest with myself. Trying to deal and accommodate things. Thinking this is how it would just work itself out. I had to work me out. I had to take care of me. I had to make sure that I'm doing the best for me so that I would be of value to anybody around me. I let myself go. That was one of the worst things I ever did to myself. Harsh lesson learned. But, like I was telling you about my Costco and my ID, I'm never gonna forget that. I still have a lot of time ahead of me, and I get to actively take advantage of that. And I'll make sure that I value myself to a scale that really where I'm at right now, I've never been more of a walking resource and a valuable asset. Like, this is how I conducted myself throughout my life. It was probably a time period between after I got out of jail. There's a video where I told you, it was a luxury. I actually took the time to wallow in some sadness and some self-pity. And that's probably where that started to decline. And yeah, man, like it was just not a pretty time in my life, but even in that time, I still had value. I was still fun, but like I wasn't, I wasn't pouring into myself properly to the way that I am now. You know what I'm saying? I was still feeding from a cup, but it wasn't overflowing. Now my cup spills over on a regular basis. It's constantly flowing. That's how much value I've poured into myself. That's how much I appreciate me. And emanating that, displaying that self-characteristic, other people start to value you. They can't help it. You're emanating that you are of that value and worthy of that value. You're doing it for yourself. Nobody else can apply. They can try, but you might not even accept it adequately because you don't see it. So you have to make sure that you're valuing yourself, pouring into yourself so that you can spill into other cups. But don't drain yourself trying to fill up a broken glass. Another thing that I didn't know that I didn't know. But yeah, man, just a little food for thought. Not speaking the gospel, just sharing my experiences. Hope you guys take advantage of the opportunity to jump on your own train, join the Wagey train, hit that like and subscribe button, and conduct yourself in a manner that'll set you on the path towards a life that you value, that you want to be a part of, and that you feel comfortable inviting other people into. But also remember to be cautious of who you let on your train, and don't be afraid to walk away, because sometimes that's the only real display of value that you have. On that note, Ouija's out.